Tuesday. Welcome to a new week, and it's a five-side podcast here. Restrictions are easing, and we're all dying to get to the pub.
Oh, yeah.
Well, some of us have been to the pub.
Oh, look at me! I've been to the pub already.
Yep.
That's the voice of Matthew Thompson.
Hello, folks.
We've also got Ross Stewart,
Hi all.
Craig Gregor,
Evening.
and Billy Kirkpatrick.
Good evening.
Good evening, indeed. It was Scottish Cup weekend again. It feels like it's been Scottish Cup weekend for the past month now. That's just where we are. All Premiership sides taking part in this weekend. Expected, really. Well, usually expected. There was no real cup sets in the previous round, by a Championship or lower side. Unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. Before we go there, obviously there was League 2, League 1 and Championship football on. Shock story of the weekend is League 2 champions Queen's Park losing out 1-0 to Stranraer.
The first loss of the
We hate
weekend.
to see
The
it.
first loss of the year, sorry, not the weekend.
First loss of
First
that
loss of the
weekend.
weekend, not very good from Queen's Park.
We love you, Queen's Park.
Well, I mean, it was the first loss of the weekend.
It wasn't.
They played
It wasn't the
Friday.
only loss of the weekend. So if you want the silver lining,
Mm-hmm. In the relegation
Another
group.
shock story is Ayr didn't lose.
That's true,
Didn't even concede.
but they're not in
Was
League
that
2.
Not in League 2.
Not yet.
Knob.
Not yet.
Cowdenbeath winning away 2-0 to Stenhousemuir. Albion
nobody's seen that.
Albion Rovers 1-0 winners against Annan, and Stirling 1-0 winners against Edinburgh City. That's your League 2 action. Not much changing there.
No, not really. It does get Pool Cowdenbeath up level in points with Annan, and after Billy's not so positive review of their game last week, I'm surprised they got some points.
Yeah, well, these things happen in football.
In football.
League 1, spicy as ever in the promotion group. Falkirk and Cove Rangers, two title fighting sides, drawing 2 each. After Cove Rangers went ahead with about 15 minutes to go, but they couldn't hold on, and about 4 minutes from the end, Connor Salmon does Partick some favours and puts them in the driver's seat because they won 1-0 over Hertionians. Not funny, Matt.
No, I'm just laughing at the photo of Connor Salmon I seen again.
Alright, okay.
Was that the one with the pizza? Yeah.
It was the one with the family standing behind them. Have you seen that
Right,
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one
My
come up again.
favourite's the one with
Brilliant.
him with a pizza. And he's just not
That's a good
smiling.
one.
He doesn't want to be there, but he's there anyway.
In the relegation
The
fight,
face of Scottish football.
the relegation side group, whatever you want to call it, East 5-2-1 winners over to Barton, and Peterhead romping Clyde when they were down to 10 men as well. Poor Clyde.
They are a poor team, that Clyde. Don't know who would lose to them.
Yeah, I know. Talk about teams that lose to Clyde. Ayr, they didn't lose. Well done.
Woo!
But it was a 0-0 draw, so they didn't win either.
The first ever 0-0 draw between the two sides at Somerset Park. There you go. There's your fun fact of the week.
Dundee 2-1 winners over Wraith. Hearts 3-0 winners over Inverness. Morton drawing 1 each with Alloa. That helps Ayr's chances of safety. Slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It does.
And the most exciting game of the weekend in the Championship was Dunfermline 4, or Brove 3. A good game.
It was quite an exciting game. Dunfermline 2 goals ahead. Arbroath managed to bring it back, and then they went another 2 goals ahead, and Arbroath almost brought it back again, but they only managed to get the one the second time round.
Two fairly early goals from Dunfermline, and then 2 quick goals together from Arbroath before half time, and well, they all but got it 1 until the last sort of 10 minutes when Arbroath looked like they were going to come back into it again.
Which keeps Arbroath down in that fight between the three teams.
Mm-hmm.
One point in it.
It's given Ayr a real sort of lifeline for next week, Friday.
Yeah.
To
means that Ayr do just need to draw.
Yep, it's a not lose game against Inverness.
Or if we do lose, we really need Arbroath to win.
I didn't realise that was the thing. Means the playoff places confirmed for promotion.
Yes.
Dunfermline, Dundee, and Wraith, the playoff teams.
Although there could still be some movements between themselves.
Between themselves, yes.
Yeah.
But
good win from Dundee puts them in a good position to push for that second place, which, with the current playoff system that we've got in the Championship, could make quite a big difference being second instead of third.
Yeah. One less game to play.
Exactly. And less chance of going to Dunfermline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, wait, no, they wouldn't be away. I know. Yeah, but nobody wants to play Dunfermline.
Whatever Matt said, yes, I agree.
Mm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting on Friday night, and I think there is a televised match, but I don't think it's a good one.
It's the Hearts Wraith game.
Well,
which when it was announced was first v second. To be fair, so
it still is first v second.
See why it was chosen? Well, yeah, but
I suppose
it was first v second with a chance of something to be done.
I suppose Wraith they've got to try and hold on to second place, so I suppose there's something to play for.
Yeah,
but
it would have been a much better viewing it in Arbroath Morton. I would think that would be the real fight of the fight of the week.
Probably, yeah, that's probably the one I'd have picked.
Regardless of what happened, it's been some achievement for Wraith to get as far as they have. Cause I don't think many people expected them to be second at this point in time. I think a lot of people expected probably Dundee, you'd say, at the start of the season would be second.
Well, it all boils down to one final night of excitement. So we'll obviously bring you updates from that when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the main event, the Scottish Cup, because it's Cup weekend, you can't not talk about the Cup, and 4 games that turned out to be fantastic. And they end up 3 of them going to penalties after extra time. Some achievement from Hibs, Motherwell, Rangers, St Johnstone, Kilmarnock and St Mirren to give us those long games over the weekend. And it started off when Hibs took on Motherwell. And they went ahead just after half-time through Christian Doidge, then secured a second just 10 minutes before the end, Jackson Irvine, and somehow in the final 10 minutes, Motherwell managed to grab 2 goals, 2 minutes to spare, and take it to extra time, in which no one scored. And it was penalties that decided it.
It was I'm sure most people would have thought when the Hibs got their second goal, and with 10 minutes to go, that was them comfortable in the tie. Motherwell didn't really trouble them too much at all before then.
Mm-hmm.
They would have just thought that's us, just see it out, and then the Hibs just disappeared, concede 2 goals, and puts the tie at risk.
Yeah,
they absolutely they Hibs
it.
They almost Hibs
very
it.
almost.
They did manage to get through.
Pulled it back. It was a good old Hibsing until the penalties, and they managed to hold it together.
I mean, fair play to Motherwell. They stuck in right to the last, and Tony Watt popping up with a crucial goal to take them to extra time and penalties, but just wasn't to be.
Stephen O'Donnell with a nice
classic. Yeah, it was Stephen O'Donnell.
We're all fans of him here in this podcast.
One for the Scotland squad.
Maybe.
It's just it's a shame that not Hibs, Motherwell missed 2 penalties so quickly so early on. You net your first penalty and you kind of should usually drive you on, but to miss the next two after that, and they almost got a let off with Kevin Nisbet missing his penalty, but it was not to be.
It wasn't to be. And put Hibs through as what are now the favourites after some other games.
After the other games, they are. Yeah, I'd say they're favourites now.
Favourites based on league positions just now.
Yeah. But obviously it's the cup and anything can happen, and we've seen that this season.
And fair play to Hibs, got to say, I get into both semi-finals this season.
I think they've been really impressive this season as a whole. You can tell Jack Ross has got a game plan. He knows what he's doing. They're quite a well organised team.
They've had some questionable results in the league where they were kind of lucky that Aberdeen weren't really at the races either. They might not have managed to get third, but they've done well to all but secure that third place now, and get themselves into both semi-finals. So
it's pretty much in the bag, that their league position, and they'll be pushing for European football.
Well, they've guaranteed themselves European football where they finish third
or
fourth, or win the cup. Either of them will get them European football.
It is quite exciting, the prospect of one of these teams that's left is going to get guaranteed European group stage football.
Yeah, and it's not, even though it's going to be guaranteed group stage in the Conference League, it's not against steady teams, even though it's called the Conference League. Like, I've seen some, I don't know who's predicted to be in it now, but I remember a few months ago they were predicting like Napoli and like Liverpool to be the teams that were going to be in the Conference League based on the positions. I don't know what it's like.
Yeah, I've not seen anything. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's going to be tremendous for a lot of these teams income-wise, because these games are going to be on TV. Depending if they could get a glamour tie against a Napoli or a Liverpool, etc., bringing huge revenue for the clubs, it could help them push on to cement.
And then you think, like, if they can get out their groups and get knock stage, that's not it. Knockout football, then
yeah, because I think third place get out of the group or something. I can't remember how the system all works now. But
I think it's best best of thirds or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's all a confusing system right now, but we'll see as it goes along. But even if they don't get, like, they're going to a Europa League playoff spot, where they've got a chance to go into the Europa League group stages. Which
they'll crack at that first as well, which is good.
Yeah, I think I seen that they were guaranteed roughly about $3.5 million. And that's if they lose all their games. If they win,
that's significant money to some of the teams there as well.
Like, I do wonder how some of these teams would fare in the Europa League, because credit where credit's due. Some of these teams aren't anywhere as bad as what people make them out to be. I think a team like Hibs, who have actually got quite a decent quality of player, would actually surprise a few teams.
Well, some of the teams that are in the Europa League this season, like you had Dundalk. Like, I would put Hibs to beat Dundalk. I can't remember any of the other lower end teams off the top of my head. But like, it'd be even good to see how they fare against the better opposition, like even like the mid-table Premiership sides and stuff like that. Like, what was it? It's not quite mid-table. It's like 6th, 7th place. But yeah,
huge. A huge. Well, I don't know. Some people could class it as an upset. The next afternoon, as Aberdeen ran out 3-0 losers to Dundee United.
They are so fucking
But in
bad.
the current state of Aberdeen, I wouldn't class it as an upset, really. It was certainly on the cards.
Bad.
And I unfortunately watched the majority of this game, and Aberdeen just, I think, I don't know who it was, I seen someone saying, I think it was Pine Bovril saying that they've went from a team that couldn't score to now being a team that can't score and can't defend.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I think Stephen Glass has got like a massive job in his hand. He's got
Again, I'm not gonna pin that all on him. I mean,
yeah, obviously
he's inherited a tragic team at the moment, and he's got a bit of work to do to sort of fix that over the summer. But we'll see what he can do before we make any actual judgment, because this isn't his team.
just I don't understand it because Canberry at Hibs and Canberry and his short spell at Rangers as well. He looked like a really good player, but at Aberdeen he doesn't look like he knows where the net is half the time.
He's done well on some occasions when I've seen him. Just it's almost like the whole Aberdeen team weren't up for it. They couldn't string a pass together in the first half. It was embarrassing, really.
They looked like a team that were scared. Like they couldn't seem to like.
They had so much possession, they just didn't create it, turn it into chances. And Dundee United, they had 5 shots in the first half, 3 on target, and 2 of them ended up in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
Just like awful breakdowns in Aberdeen's defence, and just let them in.
Because it was kind of a must. Well, not a must win for Dundee United, but it would have been really embarrassing if they had rested their side midweek and then go out and didn't put out a performance. It would have just been all for nothing to get absolutely pumped off Kelly for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Billy was going to say something there.
Yeah, thank you.
Too many passengers for Aberdeen. You look at that squad, I'd get rid of about 10 of them straight away. Too many passengers. Too many people just content with getting a wage, content with, playing substandard football. They lacked any sort of desire to even try and compete. It just looks as if they wanted to be anywhere else but the pitch. It was. Had Dundee United played well and won 3-0, you can have no complaints. But Dundee United had their moments, but Aberdeen were just so bad. I don't think, I don't think, okay, yes, you have to take your chances, yeah, and fair play to Dundee United for doing that. But Aberdeen were so bad. I mean, just so many players just disinterested, disengaged, basic mistakes,
I mean, if you look at that starting lineup, it's a relatively strong team, and the bench isn't terribly half bad. Some of the players on it, but there's substitutions when you're 3 goals down to bring on a 19-year-old, and then shut the page. A 19-year-old inexperienced player, and then Dylan McGeoch off the bench. Like, it leaves a bit to be sort of desired, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And then another 19-year-old off the bench with 10 minutes to play when you're trying to push for something.
I suppose that's what Stephen Glasso did at Atlanta. He was very much a youth-focused coach. So...
I understand focusing on youth, but when you're down goals, bring on. Not that they've got players that they could trust on the bench, but like bring on someone who's.
You look at that bench. Score a goal. Who would you bring on?
I don't know. It feels weird to me, taking off Hendry at striker and bringing on a young boy instead of bringing on someone like Fraser Hornby, who's got a bit more experience. He's got that experience at under 21s level for Scotland.
Mm-hmm. With no goals.
Still just a young boy,
he doesn't score goals though.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like he's more likely to pop up with a goal than someone would no experience at any sort of level, significant level.
I think at this point, they've got major problems. I don't think Hornby or Canberra have really proven themselves to be perhaps Aberdeen's quality. I don't know if that's me being a bit harsh on them, but I mean,
no, that's a fair point. One goal.
Their goal scoring record is incredibly poor. I think 7 games for each of them, 1 goal. That was Canberra that scored the one that even I think Craig could have probably scored.
Clinical finisher.
To be fair, he's a Golden Boot winner, Craig, but it's just awful.
Yeah,
from,
they lost their biggest goal scorer, their best striker, and they've not built on it. Like when they brought in Hornby, you think that's a decent signing. He's got experience at youth level, and he can score a goal for international. So surely he can pick up and score a couple of goals for Aberdeen. But I don't think he's been given a great opportunity at them. And they've been a bit of a lackluster side this season. But still, you'd expect them to at least get a goal.
I have to laugh though. Aberdeen have brought in, the striking coach Alan Russell, but they don't have a striker. They don't. They don't have a. I mean, Canberra, apart from his one goal against Livingston, has been as much use as a polished shit. Hornby is just a runner. He just runs. Hasn't scored a competitive. Disregarding international football, where you're playing your ditty teams like San Marino and all that garbage. I could score against San Marino. He's not scored. The last time he scored was the 1920 season for some Belgian ditty team. So he's not a striker, and you've got the young boys who you obviously can't blame them because they're young and inexperienced. But there isn't a striker there to score goals. Callum Hendry.
Callum Hendry is a decent goal scoring striker, but he's not. He had a decent season a couple of seasons ago with St Johnstone. Didn't really get fire in this season, then got shipped out to Aberdeen and just not performed at anything yet.
I mean, for Aberdeen,
to say if I was
he's 2 goals.
One
against Kelly when they couldn't defend, and one against Dumbarton, who played with 3 million games in 2 days.
What's that? 2 goals in 12 games.
That's dreadful.
Yeah, that's not good. If I was Scott Brown, I'd be getting on to Lee Griffiths and try and get him to follow him to Aberdeen. Be a kind of a proven goal scorer. It's what Aberdeen need, where they play him with one of the younger guys and try and get them get a link there. But I think Lee Griffiths would be a great signing if Aberdeen could try and get him.
100% what they need, a guy that knows how to score goals. And I think Cosgrove, although he wasn't a natural goal scorer, he still brought that side to his game, was physical and whatnot, and he never really replaced him with 2 loan signings who haven't cut it. So I think if Aberdeen do get Griffiths, I think that would probably be one of the best signings of the season for them, if he could get himself fit.
Even if he's not able to get himself back to full fitness, but he's one of those players where, like you said, if you're looking to your bench for a player at any point, he's one of those players you can always look to at the bench.
If you're asking me, I don't think it happens, but it is certainly, they need someone that knows how to score goals. And it sounds weird, but if you're playing for Aberdeen, I don't think you necessarily need to be full fitness, because you're not playing as much football. Also, if you're playing at Celtic and Rangers, you're playing 2 times a week, basically from the start of the season, from before the start of the season, actually. So, in those teams, you have to be up there. You have to be the best of the best fitness level wise. But when you're at your Aberdeens, your St Johnstones, you don't have to be necessarily. Also, you have to be fit. You can't just be a wee fat shit and run about like a dick. Although Chris Boyd got away with it for quite a while at Kelly.
Chris Boyd, he's done fairly for himself by being a little lazy guy.
Yeah, but
to be fair,
Stevie May at St Johnstone, he's not the fittest guy, but he's still managed and he's just got himself a new contract with him as well. He still manages to play week in, week out, and pops up with a goal every so often. So I certainly think it would be a good move for Aberdeen and for Lee Griffiths as well.
Yeah, because realistically, unless he magically gets unbelievably fit from now until the start of next season. He's nowhere near Celtic's plans, I wouldn't think.
Depends. I reckon Jose Mourinho's sitting looking up. Oh, he can score free kicks. We'll keep him.
He's not
Sign
scored a free kick
Pogba.
in like 2 seasons, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's
Dundee
scored
United,
two
though,
goals.
fair fucks to them. I think quite a lot of people sort of might have written them off because they've been a bit up and down this season. They've just come into the league out the Championship, but they struck out reasonably early, inside 20 minutes, which I'd consider early. Piled on more pressure on Aberdeen and got a second before half time, and it pretty much killed the game off at that point.
Dundee United are one of those teams, if on their day they are a decent enough side, they can put themselves up there with the best. It was just the inconsistencies this season is what you're struggling. They've got they certainly got enough goal scorers in their team anyway.
I was going to say they've certainly got goal scorers.
Shankland, Clark and McNulty, like they're all decent strikers. It's just they really struggled to find any consistent form this season to even try and help them get into top 6.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost managed it in the last day of the season, but or not the last day of the season, the last day pre-split anyway.
Yeah, like when you're looking at the comparison between the Dundee United attack and the Aberdeen attack, and sort of like McNulty's proven as being a good goal scorer. Shankland's, although being in Championship level, but he's done it. He's scored goals for fun in the Championship. He's a good goal scorer, and obviously Clark, like he loves popping up with goals, assists. I mean, it's quite a frightening front three when they're all firing.
Yeah.
Compared to Aberdeen, who Kennedy, since he's been to them, has not really done much. Hendry, like you said, he's only scored 2 goals. Canberry, who just isn't there, he just doesn't seem to be there half the time.
Aberdeen's, I know you guys disagreed with me at the start of when he moved, but one of Aberdeen's best attacking threats, Scott Wright, obviously left. That's another huge blow. A guy that could actually maybe change a game with a bit of pace. They just don't have it. They don't have. Well, they're such a predictable team to play against. I think it's got to take a huge ask.
I do think, in fairness to Aberdeen, they are missing Ryan Hedges personally.
Yeah.
You know, before he got injured,
I think at the start of the season I said like I really like him, but I really dislike him. Like he's one of those annoying players that he will go down quite easily, and he will buy fouls, so to say. But
it was the only one that was going to change the game for Aberdeen in games.
He drives and he digs in, and some of his runs from the wing and cutting into midfield and running like at defenders is what they miss because they don't have players that run at defenders. Yeah.
Well, let's not get talking about Aberdeen's attack. We've got an exciting game next. I'm sure Jer
is an exciting game.
Can't wait to tell us about.
Jer's going to tell us all about it. Everyone will have heard, but it was was Rangers 0, St Johnstone 0.
I was waiting for the other game.
No. Rangers 0, St Johnstone 0. Went to extra time. Rangers thought they had it won. 3 minutes to go. 2 minutes in to added time and extra time, and Xander Clark comes up, and everyone's looking at him, and no one sees him. The Rangers defence just don't pick him up.
Everyone's looking at him, but no one marks him.
Alan McGregor's screaming, pointing at him, but no one's moving towards him. He jumps up, he gets a free header, albeit not the best of head connections on it, but he gets it down towards goal, and Chris Kane's standing there at back post, and I think he's a bit unaware of it, but it bounces off him and goes in the back of the net. And
like you said, it may not have been a good header from Xander Clark, but once you win that initial header so closely in the 6-yard box,
he put the right direction on it. He put it down the way,
yeah,
which is where you want to be putting it when he's that close in.
It was 100% a striker style header. I always try knock it down and try and hit it into the ground. I guess I'll start the.
I'm sure at first he thought he scored it, but later to
I'll,
find out that.
I'll just start talk about the game. Quite a boring game to be completely honest with you. I think St Johnson well organised, actually extremely well organised. I know many of you who do listen regularly think I'm Mayor McStaunch, and
You are.
all I do is talk about Rangers, etc., which I often do.
That's
But
what you're here for.
credit to St Johnson where it's due. I thought they were excellent at points. Sean Rooney in particular, a very good game. I felt he was a threat all day.
Well, just from the short highlights that I watched, like they were putting bodies on the line late on into the normal 90 minutes, blocking shots and just getting the ball to fuck really, and that's what you need.
Yeah, obviously Rangers did have a couple of chances. Morelos hit the post. He then had another chance. Sander Clark saved. I think another chance that he just put just slightly wide. But the chances that come at that level, it's just the luck of the draw. If you don't take your chances, you're going to get punished by any team in this sort of level in the SPFL, and especially in the cup when it's all to play for. Extra time, pretty boring, to be honest.
I think, I don't know if the stats are actually true, but what I'm looking at, like Rangers had 13 chances in normal time. St Johnson only had like 3 or something.
Yeah, I mean
attempts, and then in extra time, it almost like it's like the momentum swung St Johnson's way, and they got five attempts on goal and 2 on target.
I think if Rangers were to have won that game after 90 minutes, I don't think anyone would have had many complaints. But if you don't take your chances, you don't score goals. So,
I agree.
Yeah, I think Rangers did not play at the level I think many expected them to. Obviously, they rested guys midweek against St Johnson, and it came to the weekend, and they were flat.
I've seen a lot of people saying that it was weird to make so many changes from midweek. I know, obviously, that the idea of midweek was to rest players.
I think the big one for me would be Scott Wright. I felt midweek actually gave St Johnson quite a torrid time. I feel he probably merited a pick at the weekend. I don't think Hadji did. I think
that's one I've seen people talking about.
I think that kind of bit them in the butt, should I say? And because when he came on, he was like one of the players that actually seemed to try and seemed to go up players and sort of what they really needed. And it was just too little, too late. And penalties, obviously Xander Clark, the hero, some great saves, and credit goes to him and the rest of St Johnson team because to put penalties away under pressure and being underdogs takes real guts and real fight, and he did that. So fair play to him.
I'll ask you this: do you think it was weird that? I know, obviously, it's like Tavernier is the penalty taker, he's the captain. But do you think it was weird that he took the first penalty after being out for so long?
No, not really. I think I think they have a system where they know who's taking the penalties, so I don't think. Obviously, Tavernier didn't look fit. I think many people who watched 90 minutes could have told you that.
Yeah. I was going to say it's tough in your second game back after being out injured for 2 months to have to play 120 minutes.
Yeah, and he didn't look greatly confident when he stepped up for his penalty either.
Throughout the game, I don't think he looked very sharp. Obviously, coming back from an injury, it's never going to be easy, but he just didn't look at it.
It was a poor penalty from him as well.
It's going to be a tough one for him for the rest of the season. Even if if he's not fairly fit, he doesn't. Well, I'm sure you could manage to find something to make it work if he wasn't able to see out a game. But
the thing we get no
with
more
Patterson out
right
for the rest of the
backs.
season, yeah.
Balogun's
You
out
could
injured for the rest of the season.
You could maybe play like a three. I don't know if change it to a three at the back system and put Jack Simpson in as well. But
I don't know. They need to find something to do because at the current rate, I don't think Tavernier sees out the season without getting injured again.
yeah, without getting injured again.
Obviously, it's Captain Obvious, which many people will be afraid to say. But if Patterson wasn't so stupid, he probably would have been playing, and things could have been a lot different. We don't know what would have happened, but him playing well would certainly have gave Rangers more of a chance than playing Tavernier, who was extremely jaded and just didn't look at it.
It's just stupid.
Yeah, just
it's
not
stupid from
match
Patterson
fit.
to do that this season of all seasons. Like when there is the restrictions on sports bubbles. There was a global pandemic. There still is a global pandemic. Like we're only just starting to get out of this properly.
100%. We've spoke about it.
Any other
previous
season,
podcasts about the stupidity of it all, and
any other season that happens all the time. But yeah,
just
he knows himself. If he doesn't know himself, he's got a problem. He'll know fine well that he'd have probably have played and probably have had
he'd
a
be kicking
decent
himself.
game, and he's ruined it for himself.
It's one of those ones where does it come down to poor management from Gerrard now? Because if he just let them serve the ban when they initially got it and let them, they would have finished the ban well before now.
Mm-hmm.
Although they wouldn't have had any right backs before then, but I'm sure they could have made something work. I'm sure they've got a decent enough squad. I'm sure there's players that can fill into that position.
You'd rather
to see out some of the league games and stuff, and some of the cup games against like the lesser opposition, and then have both of them available for the final run in to try and get.
That's the way I see it.
The cup.
I'd rather have a player available later at a more crucial stage than like an early cup stage, if you know what I mean.
I think
so. Early on in the cup, you're not getting the great sides. You can play weaker, like a weaker.
Especially like we played
side.
Cove, who.
I mean, they're good for their level, but they're not Premiership quality, and they don't really pose a challenge to Rangers.
Yeah, like a makeshift right back would have been
would have made
Leon King, Cove, who's 17, obviously is now on the bench. It was a right back. He could have easily have played.
He might see himself. He might see himself getting some chances to play.
Does Leon King play?
I believe off the top of my head,
a midfielder or something.
He plays centre half, but he also plays centre half slash right back if needed. So
he could get a chance at right back if Tavernier's not up to it in some games.
It'll definitely be interesting because I know Gerrard spoke in depth about Tavernier. We gave him longer to recover, but he really didn't look like it. He looked lethargic. He looked done in, and he looked extremely out of position.
It could just be lack of match fitness, to be fair, though, which you can't.
Yeah, I've seen the last.
You can't regain that in recovery process without playing matches.
You're right.
That's sometimes why players, when they get injured, they play like a couple of reserve games before. But also that's difficult this season with restrictions no reserve league. Yeah.
But that's all we've got to say. Just apart from well done, St Johnstone again.
Well done, St Johnstone. Yep. That's not how you say it. But they are on for a cup double.
And another team to make it to both semi-finals. Yeah. Yep. So we'd have 3 teams making it to both semi-finals.
And the last one is St Mirren, who pulled off. I mean, I guess is in terms of goals being scored and just general action for a whole 120 minutes, this was the game, and it was last night.
Probably put down as a tie round.
Yeah. So what was it after 90 minutes? 2 each. Yeah.
2 each.
And 1 each in extra time, and it went to penalties as well. I've got to say though, from watching the highlights, it's a bit. The defending from both teams is not fantastic in the first half.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's 2 teams that are they've not done the best in the league this season. St Mirren have done well for the size of the club there. They've finished mid-table.
I think St Mirren
They were
have done
pushing for top
extremely well.
6. They had an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean they got to this. They got to the League Cup semis as well.
I think they've had a decent season.
Yeah, but they did. They were probably the better team, St Mirren, in my opinion, until they got their goal, and then they just kind of seemed
flattened
to
off.
switch. Yeah, Kelly got 2 goals back into it, and then Kelly probably could have went on and scored more. Probably should have went on and scored more. Fairly dominated St Mirren for the first half of the second half, and then seemed to St Mirren change some stuff up, and then St Mirren got themselves back into the game. Got a late free kick and whipped it in. Got the equaliser to take it to extra time.
Yeah. I mean, that you need luck like that. Sort of, well, not luck, but you need like those last minute goals. You don't expect them all the time, but they got it, and I think it kind of swung the momentum for a bit. And in extra time,
going into extra time with that goal put some momentum on. Then, and especially Kelly went down to 10 men. Was it Kabamba that went off injured? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it was.
Someone got forced off injured, and they'd already used all their subs.
Yeah, because they used all their subs basically straight away at the start of extra time, or the last 2 subs.
So it was always going to be an uphill battle from Kelly, but then, bang, in comes Don Robertson.
Yep. I think it's a penalty.
You do think it's a penalty?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You serious? Or?
Yeah. I've only seen it once from one angle, but I think it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Genuine. I've only seen it. I've only seen it once. So don't take it to heart if it's not. You don't think it's a penalty, but
I mean, I'm not saying it's an obvious one that Don Robertson should have been getting, but it was tight.
From the angle I've seen, it just
really
looked like
it did. The St Mirren player got the ball.
From the angle I've seen, it just looked like the St Mirren player was a bit clumsy.
I don't know if it was a penalty.
Billy, have you got any comments on it?
Obviously, the penalty lottery was enforced last night. I don't think it's a penalty personally. It didn't look a penalty. It looked as if he got the ball, but wasn't the worst decision he made.
I mean, you've got to take them though. Like, it's one of those ones where you've got to be careful in those situations, and the referee sees it as the referee sees it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I don't think it was a penalty, but then that is Don Robertson for you. He's as Billy said, it was a penalty lottery, and then he might have felt like he had to redeem himself later on, and he gave St Mirren another questionable penalty.
I don't think it was questionable. It just wasn't a penalty.
I don't see how he could think it was a penalty. That's when the St Mirren one was a lot more obvious of a non-penalty for me. The keeper clearly comes in, makes a clean connection with the ball.
Yeah, he's already got the ball before he takes the player.
It's that he tries to collect the ball, but the ball bounces out of his grasp. But then, like he's clearly made an attempt to get the ball, and it's just never a penalty.
Yeah, the St Mirren one, like, it's a bit silly. I think it's silly from Kelly though, the Kelly defender, to not just get the ball to fuck.
Yeah.
Like, if you know what I mean, if he's trying to guide that back to the keeper, just boot it. Just put your foot through it and put it out the side of the park. At that late stage in the game, it's silly to not do that. I don't think it's a penalty, but yeah, these things happen. The St Mirren came in, he got round, and he almost nicked the ball off the defender, and the goalie comes and gets the ball, but then takes the player, and obviously the ref again, he sees it as he sees it, and you just got to sort of accept that again. But both teams getting penalties that, I don't know, I've seen the Kelly one again. I think it's an unfortunate one because it does look like he does get the ball first, but it's just maybe from the ref's angle, and yeah, again, it's been clumsy like that in the box running in, but both teams getting undeserved penalties, which cancel each other out, and it took us all the way to penalties.
Well, before it went to penalties, Doyle had to make a great save to stop St Mirren from getting a late winner to actually let it go to penalties.
Well, sounds like we've got Buzz Lightyear somewhere. We'll just try.
Really thought we'd
Can
never
confirm it's
be
not-
seeing him again. Yeah, and it was only one missed penalty.
A good penalty. All of them were good
From Kelly.
penalties, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, St Mirren just smashing them home, making sure that they found the net, and that's the best thing to do with a penalty. Make sure you find the net.
Jack Hannock he's quite an active goalkeeper, and when I've noticed when he's in a penalty shoot, he kept side to
loves
side,
moving
touch the
about,
post,
yeah.
touch, yeah.
That can be distracting sometimes.
He's actually quite a good goalkeeper, like especially for like a team like St Mirren. He's actually quite a good shot stopper.
Stop shopper. Yeah, shot stopper. Yeah, no, 100%. But it was St Mirren that went through. I believe was the draw made. Yeah.
Yep. Draw has been made.
Yeah, it was made.
Lovely. So we have semi-finals of St Mirren v St Johnstone and Dundee United taking on Hibernian.
The St Mirren St Johnstone game will be on Premier and BBC, and Dundee United Hibs game is on Premier only.
Well, it's going to be exciting. Those are two fairly decent semi-finals. I mean, if Dundee United that just played Aberdeen turn up against Hibs, then they'll give them a game.
And if the Hibs that played in their last semi-final tonight, where they get hammered 15-0 off St Johnstone in the League Cup,
that'll be a good
they
one.
turn up, then yeah.
And St Mirren St Johnstone, that's going to be a good game as well. It's the St Mirren side that they'll be right up for it because they've got nothing else really to play for. St Johnstone as well. They've got this is their focus. Both teams just have to focus on this.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, realistically, all the teams have nothing else to play for in the league.
True. Yeah.
There's a few position little changes up for grabs, but
it's actually really good for Scottish football to see other teams apart from Rangers or Celtic go for these trophies. It's actually quite obviously I'm not happy about it, but it's quite refreshing to see, like especially like it's gonna be two great ties in the semi-finals. Like it's probably the best combination I think you could have got for the semi-finals.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, I could see either team from either side, either tie going through into the final. St Johnstone, obviously, they've got it's huge for them. They could pick up a cup double, which is huge for them. Like it would be a massively great season, and manager of the year quite clearly would be Callum Davidson, if you're asking me.
well, even if he doesn't win it, even if he gets to the final, you've still got to, or even with him being in the semis, he's still got to be in contention.
Yeah, he's up there, 100% up there for me.
With Gerrard winning the league, obviously, it's he's the clear favourite as of right now. But for these other teams to be doing so well in the cup with like the budgets is minuscule compared to
correct me if I'm wrong, but manager of the year is purely based on the league, isn't it, or is it based on a combination of it all?
I think there is the Premiership manager of the year, but then there's also the PFA manager of the year, I believe, which is based on the whole Scotland, but it takes into consideration like how good like the champion, like I don't know where Robbie Nielsen will be in contention for it, and he did struggle. But yeah,
As midweek this week is only League One fixtures on. Is the tail end of the season.
League One and League Two.
Sorry, and League Two. I completely forgot League Two was a thing. Sorry.
There's actually some fixtures ongoing just now.
Are they now?
Yes, they are.
Ah, well, that's fine.
So predictions for this week will be based on the Thursday fixtures for League One and League Two.
I didn't realise they were on right this second. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Let's just do predictions then for Thursday night. Start you off. Elgin v Stirling, Craig.
Well, you know, I'm being a wee bit swayed by Elgin's result right now. They are currently 4-0 up against Stranraer. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Elgin.
Well, I'm obviously a League Two expert. Basing it on the last time they played, which was a score draw 1-1, I'll expect the same again. Score draw 1-1.
I reckon anything can happen. I'm gonna say 2-1 to Stirling.
Is Matt there to give us his prediction?
Matt is here, and he is going to say 2-0 to Elgin.
Matt hasn't been as active this podcast because he's struggling along on hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, shout out to Premier Inn Boston for the shite Wi-Fi.
I will go 2-1 Elgin. And next up, Queen's Park, Edinburgh City.
And this will be a good game. I think it'll be a score draw 2 each.
I also go with score draw, but I'm going to go 4-all, 4-4.
Jesus Christ.
Game of the day.
Sure.
Queen's Park only conceded 9 goals before
what
that
did
game.
You say the score was, Bill? Sorry.
4-4.
4-all.
The score was.
Almighty.
Time traveller.
I reckon the score will be Queen's Park 3, Edinburgh City 1.
I'm going to go with a score draw 1-1.
And I've already done all my scores for all these games, and I put 3-1 Queen's Park.
Oh, I didn't see that. I might change mine now.
Next, Brecon Annan.
So, I think this will be a dreadful game, to say the least. But I do think Annan will be able to come out in front 2-0.
We say that as if Brecon are currently winning a game of football.
It's against Cowdenbeath, though, Matt.
Yeah, but still, they don't win many games.
That's better than the last bloody Brecon Cowdenbeath game that I had to bloody suffer.
Anyway,
but anyway, for me, I'd go Annan 1, Brecon 0.
I'm going to go the other way and go Brecon 1, Annan 0.
Who's this guy in second place? He's predicting 1-0 Brecon, honestly.
These are guys.
I'll go with 2-0 to Annan.
I'm going to go score draw, 1 each. I put that down before I remembered that Brecon are absolutely tragic, but we move to Stenhousemuir, Albion Rovers.
Oof. A 0-0 draw.
Stenhousemuir 1, Albion Rovers 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say Albion Rovers 2-0.
1-0 Stenny.
And I will go 2-1 Albion Rovers. Again, disclaimer, I already put my scores in. On to League One, I almost called it Championship, it is not. Montrose v Cove.
2-1 to Cove Rangers.
I think I'll go 1-0 Montrose.
Really?
I'm going to say 2-0 to Cove.
I'm going to agree with Jura. 2-0 to Cove.
And I'm going 3-0 to Cove. Partick Falkirk.
Ooh. 3-1 to Falkirk.
Score draw 1-1.
Partick 2, Falkirk 1.
Matt. It's always concerning when Matt goes
we'll
silent.
leave Matt and we'll move on. He can fill it in when he can.
Yep, I'm going to score draw 2 each. What's next? East Fife v Peterhead. Yep.
I'm going to go for 3-1 to East Fife.
I'm going to go 2-1 to East Fife.
I'm going to say score draw, which I normally don't like. 1-1. And we'll just get Matt to fill in at a later date.
And I'll go East Fife 3, Peter 1 head. Yep, Peterhead 1. And finally it is Forfar. Don't know why I've said it like that. Forfar v Clyde. I'm telling you my score already.
Well, I'm going to go for 0-0.
I'm going to go for Forfar 1, Clyde 5.
I'll have what Billy's having.
I'm going to say Clyde 3-1. And that's us.
No, it's not. I'm going to say score draw 1 each.
In a rush?
Yeah, dickhole.
I thought you said I'll tell us your score. I thought you did. I wasn't paying attention.
We will announce that Matt has lost connection, so
R.I.P.
It can't say goodbye this week, but it's goodbye from Matt.
We'll be sending you a letter of complaint to Boston.
Yep.
Feminine.
Yeah, that's it. It is another week done, and Craig's going to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Sure.
As always, thanks to listening. Thanks for listening to the Four Side Podcast.
And Billy, who looks like he's about to start a 100-meter sprint.
I've never sprinted in my life. Goodbye.
From me and Matt and everyone, goodbye, good night, and God bless.